literally hanging by a thread here.
Previously on Sailing Balachandra, I showed you the history of Dead Man's Island.
Hey guys, so I was home for Christmas at my parents' place in New Brunswick. I was watching the weather and it looked like we were going to have upwards of 100 kilometers per hour of winds, somewhere around 67 knots. Some serious, almost hurricane force winds here. And it turns out that while I was gone and during the night, the dock that was holding my boat ended up splitting up from the force of all the boats that are on that same side of the dock. It's just the wind was blowing on everyone's stern and it caused the dock to break up. So I didn't find out until the morning, and I rushed down here to see what had happened, and it looked like my boat was okay. A good scratch on one side where the dock had kind of run against it. I checked my bulkheads and my hull and everything's fine. But the dock is in shambles, and so we've been scrambling trying to keep it together. We're supposed to have a lot of wind continuous for the next several days, so just trying to keep everything together until all that happens, and then the club will decide what to do and where to move everybody or whatever until we can get the docks repaired. So that's it. Hanging by a wire today. But I still have power, and the boat's okay. It's just the dock is in trouble. So we've got some damage here where the dock split right here. There's my boat. And my boat's intact, but where that split, we have a plank here temporarily put. Everything's just kind of jimmy rigged right now, but that's some serious damage where the dock broke. So yeah, that's the realities, I guess, of heavy winds and winter weather. But hopefully we'll get this dock repaired and the rest of the winter it'll be alright. Hey guys, so I just wanted to talk about 2018 and what we've got coming up on Sailing Balachandra. I wanted to go to Bermuda. That was really the original plan, and that would be awesome. But I don't have any crew to take with me. The boat's pretty big, and it's not really something I can single-hand all the way to Bermuda. I'm sure people have done it, but I don't feel comfortable doing something like that. For the time being, I'm not expecting that to actually play out. Maybe, we'll see. In the meantime, I'm planning lots of trips to pick some really good destinations here around Nova Scotia and the Maritimes and up into different parts of the North Atlantic and really show you guys some awesome stuff. Try to capture all the beauty and the magic and the wildlife and everything that we encounter along the way. One of the big trips I'm planning for Balachandra in 2018 is to take her down the eastern seaboard. We'd be sailing across from Nova Scotia to New Brunswick across the Bay of Fundy, the same route that we brought her home, actually. But instead of sailing up to St. John, we'll be sailing straight down into the United States and hitting a few destinations down there. It's really all guessing at this point. It depends on crew and depends on scheduling and life and everything, but it's very possible that we'll get the boat down towards the Caribbean, possibly this year or in the late fall, and perhaps spend the winter down there. I don't know, but I'll be bringing on a few crew members in 2018. There's a couple surprises for you guys. Hey guys, so boat projects. Here's what I'm dealing with today. If you have a look at my breaker panel here, the switch for my electric bilge pump to turn on my electric bilge pump, this is what happens. It just stops. It shorts out. You can hear it running for a couple seconds and then the breaker just trips and then that's it. So I went on the internet, checked it out, and it looks like there's something blocking the pump itself and causing it to trip. I thought it might have been a short at first, so I got out my trusty multimeter and we're going to take the pump out, we're going to take a look, clean it, and put it back and try it again. So I've got two bilge pumps in here. I know this is a bit of a mess down here, but as you can see, there's that white circle is my primary bilge pump and it has its own float switch, and then this is the bilge pump I'm having the issue with. And yeah, we're going to take it out and have a look. Alright, before you get started with something like this, because the bilge pump is pretty dirty down there, you're going to want some gloves. Bilges are just gross, man. Just get some gloves. So I've got my bilge pump removed. Actually, I don't see anything wrong. So next I'm going to just test the motor
Could be that there's water getting in through this connection. Yeah, I'm just lifting the float switch. So if you noticed, the pump itself spun for a minute, and I could see it turning. The breaker on the panel tripped, so it looks like I have a short. So as you can see, I've got everything here thoroughly ripped apart. I'm going to disconnect the bilge pump and see if it's shorting itself. And if that's the case, I'm going to replace the bilge pump altogether. And it is the bilge pump. The bilge pump itself is going to need to be replaced. Here's how I know that it's actually the pump. Here's my brand new bilge pump. Wire to the ground. Then I connect the lead wire to the lead. Okay, I'm going to flip that on again, and you'll see that it doesn't short out at all. It continues to run until I manually turn it off myself. So obviously the bilge pump itself is the problem, and I'll be putting this new bilge pump in to replace the old one. Just the top part here, to some marine grade wire that I had, and I used crimpers. If you look at the pump here, I've got some ABS cement on there. This pump has been stored on my boat for a long time, and it turns out there were some cracks in this motor shaft here, which is not good, because if water gets in there, it probably will fail. So instead of buying a new pump, I have two bilge pumps, so I have a little bit of freedom to experiment. I've got my lighter, and I've got the crimps. What I'm going to do is, when you light them, when you heat them up, you want to keep the blue part of the flame, or like the base of the flame, directly on the crimp, because if you get it with the orange part, it's just going to burn and turn everything black and be messy, and it may not work all that well. So what you want to do is hit this thing until it starts to ooze out, and you'll see it. The whole thing just kind of melts. So just like that, the bilge pump is fixed. It was a straight replacement. I just threw out the old one, put the new one in, and now when I flip the switch on the breaker panel, which you can see it is on now, right here, it doesn't short out. So if the water level in my bilge gets high enough to trigger the float switch, the pump will come on and do its job. Next time on Sailing Balachandra, I'll show you how I use Navionics and a tablet as a chart plotter for navigation.
I'm actually doing okay.
You're doing great.
I'm like nervous, but I'm doing alright.
Just don't fall down. And if you do fall, I'll have a...
Yeah. I'm actually doing okay.
You're great, we're gaining speed. Whoa.
Okay.
Very cocky.